Hello there, my name is Ryan Guldemond from the band Mother, and I'm going to run through some of my equipment for y'all right now. Down here is my pedal board. This is a ground control, which triggers presets of pedals that live by my amp. This is an expression pedal. This is a volume pedal and a tuner, a Strymon compressor. This is a SGI quarter-inch to XLR conversion box. That is the, what is this? That's the MIDI. That's the audio. As a singer, the pedal dance really sucks, so I wanted to still have analog pedals, but presets. So at that point you do need basically an audio looper and then a controller. So I got the ground control, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's lovely. You can like press a button and change 8 things without any clicks or pops. It's super smooth. Yeah, super pro. All right, and this here be the brains of the operation. On top you have 4 even-tied pedals, the delay, the verb, the mod, and the pitch, and they all run in MIDI, which is lovely, because you can have different tempos per song, different pitches per song. The delay and the reverb spit out to the stereo channels, the left and the right amplifiers, and these guys are dry, all 3 signals. Yeah, I don't work with even-tied. I just love the pedals. Yeah. So on the first tray, you have a power supply. This is my lead pedal, Rock Box Boiling Point. It's a lovely pedal. And the Fuzz Factory, also a great pedal. This is a company from Halifax, Canada, Diamond. Super great boutique pedals. This is just your average, but above average overdrive pedal. And this is a great company from Vancouver called Union. Very transparent, slight crunch situation. And then down below you have the tray of noise suppression. So this is a global decimator. This one gets fed to the heavier sounds, and then these are hum debuggers, which go to the left, the center, and the right amplifiers. This is the actual looper. So this is the GCX that all the pedals feed into, that communicates with the Voodoo Labs ground control. Okay, so the amplifiers. Down the middle is, I typically play with a Marshall 412 cab, but we're borrowed gear today. These are great cabs, but I do like the Rocker Verb 50. This is a Rocker Verb 100. It doesn't really matter to me so much as it's a great punchy clean sound from the head. The rest is sort of done with pedals, but I do like the orange Rocker Verbs very much. And the reason why I have a 3-signal sound is to create breadth and width and size, being that I'm the only guitar player, because we have a fairly big sound. And on the record, of course, you overdub a bunch of guitars, as you do for sonic, depth. But it's hard to recreate live if you're just a single mono guitar signal. So having the left and the right, you can have slapbacks that create stereo effects. It makes it sound like 2 guitars. You have ping pong delays, and then separating the reverb and the delay to the left and right, you can push that sort of soupy ambience to the sides while keeping the center dry, nice and clear and focused. So that's why I do that. Okay, and the stereo amps are, in this case, just a little deluxe reverb amp. You can use a twin, you can use a boutique amp like a Dr. Z if you want. Any old little amplifier will do, just so long as there's 2 of them on either side. Okay, so the guitars, where all the magic happens. Actually, the effects are more magical than guitars, actually. Okay, so this guy was a gift from my great uncle when I was just a little kid. It's an anonymous, what appears to be a Maserati copy from Japan, probably circa late 60s. Had it restored. new pickups. That's a hand wound pickup, and this is a jazz pickup, a Seymour Duncan jazz pickup. Yeah, there's really not much to say. It's semi-hollow. It kind of has a surfery tone, like the Mosrite guitars do. They're made famous by the Ventures. That's for the rockabilly surf band back in the day. And I liked it so much that I had a guitar built in homage of the Mosrite. So this is hand built. I unoriginally call it the Whitey. Yeah. And what I like about it is you can tap the pickups. This turns the bridge pickup from a humbucker to a single coil. Has a really nice whammy. It's a beautiful guitar. It's also semi-hollow, but it's covered, so chambered, as it were. And the strings that I like to use are Diodario 52 through 11. Neither is a backup. I use this one in drop D at the beginning of tonight's set and some other times, but I like the difference in sound more than I use them for varied tunings.
Hey, my name is Mike Young and I play bass for Guldemond. So my main bass, I use for almost everything, is this Sadowski here, which is the best of basses. I love this company. I love these things. It just does everything I ask it to. I've been playing Sadowski now for quite a while, 5 or 6 years, and I just haven't gone back to a lot of the other brands that I use. I mean, I still have a lot of other things, but this is just, yeah, from metal to rock to country, whatever I ask it to do, it's always perfect. For strings, I use Diodario, standard gauge 5-string set. They've always used them 100% Diodario. So for tuning, I'm standard for this. I tend not to deviate from standard for most things, especially with the 5. I don't have to drop D or anything like that for drop D guitar songs. So I like it for that. Up at the top of my neck here, I have this fret wrap that a company called Groove Gear makes. They're amazing. I use it a lot for when I'm using heavy pedal stuff or doing tapping, anything like that. I just slide it over and it prevents the bass from running away on me. The pickups in this bass are Sadowski. And this is one of the secrets, I feel, of these basses. The pickups and the guts themselves, the electronics, are just so top-notch. All the stuff in their basses are amazing. Well, as far as pedals go, I'm running kind of a wacky setup here. At the front, I have this tuner and the compressor that are running all the time. And then I run into 2 different loops through this big shot. My one loop is these 3 pedals here, Octave Distortion. It's one of the awesome B7K dark glass pedals that are like great as a preamp pedal. I'm using it sort of as a stomp here. And then this filter pedal, which I've got a bunch of different filters programmed for different things. So that's loop 1. And loop 2 right now is this timeline for delays and squash effects. And then I also have this flint over here, which I'm using as a reverb for synth sounds. So that's the pedal setup there. For amps, typically I use either a 410 or an 810, depending on the size of the show. Kind of standard go with the Ampeg setup. And a lot of the time I use the classic head. In this case we're using backline, so I'm kind of using what we got, which is great. When I do have the chance, I like to use the orange stuff. The orange 410 and head combo is just great for this band. It's hot, it's aggressive, it's rock. It's just amazing. So as well as playing bass, I'm playing bass synths. I've got 2 rolling here. I've got this Novation Bass Station 2, which is digital, really programmable. I like it for more sort of piercing, more focused sounds. And then I've also got the Moog Sub Fatty over here, which is fully analog, and it's just warm and fat and creates a lot, like a tunnel bottom end. And for a bunch of songs, I will actually use both, running 2 different synth sounds for 2 different types of things. And this one gets run through the reverb for some really interesting effects in certain songs.
Hey guys, I'm Ali Siadat, drummer of Mother Mother, and I'm going to give you a little tour of my drum kit.
And what does that do?
I generally play a Yamaha Absolute Maple Custom live and in studio. That's usually my go-to. Of course, it depends what sound you're going for in studio, but with Mother Mother, it's usually an Absolute Maple Custom. I generally like slightly bigger sizes. I favor a 24-inch bass drum, an 18-inch floor tom, a 16-inch floor tom, a 12 or 13-inch rack tom, and that's as far as the wooden drums go. Today, I'm going to be playing a Jimmy Chamberlin signature snare drum that is 14 by 5 and some kind of metal that I'm not really sure of. I've never actually played this drum before, and I'm not that familiar with it. I normally play a Mike Borden signature snare drum, which is a hand-hammered copper drum. It's 14 by, I believe, 6 inches deep. It's a very heavy drum, and it's a very unique sound. I've never found another drum that sounds like it, and it's a hard one to describe. It's got a very unique voice of its own, and it's quite versatile and full sounding. I use Remo drum heads, and usually I would favor for live coated vintage Emperors, but in studio, as I am in studio today, I would go for coated Emperors. They're a little bit thinner than the vintage Emperors, and they've got a bit more high end to them. And on the snare, I like a coated control sound snare top head. It's basically an ambassador head, but it's got a ring on the inside that sort of focuses the drum sound a little bit more. Cymbals. My cymbals of choice are Sabian cymbals. It's a Canadian company. I mainly use their artisan line of cymbals that are a hand-hammered set. I tend to favor the matte finish, and I use a 19 and a 20 as my crashing, and a 22-inch heavy ride that I find works really well in this band, particularly for rock stuff. I tend to like slightly darker cymbals, as they're a bit less harsh. We have a lot of vocals in our band, and so it's nice to have a bit more of a controlled sound for the cymbals that doesn't interfere too much with what the vocal mics are doing. And also, coincidentally, it happens to fit my taste. On this side, I've got a 20-inch HHX Evolution crash cymbal that's a very warm and longer-lasting version of a China cymbal. It too has a bit of a unique sound that I'm a huge fan of. On the hi-hat side, these days I use 2 sets of hi-hats, an HH Ozone on top over here, which is 16-inch, with a crash cymbal on the bottom that I just kind of put together. I really like it. It's kind of a trashier sound. It's very useful to create sort of an effect of sort of putting a filter on the drums in certain parts of songs. And my main set of hi-hats are Manhattan Jazz. I usually use a 15-inch hi-hats for live, but in studio or in tighter settings when I'm closer to the vocal mics, I favor the 14-inch because, again, it's not quite as loud or harsh for the vocal mics. As far as electronics go, I use Yamaha triggers on the kick drum and the snare drum. These are brand new, a brand new series that Yamaha came out with, and I've always been fairly critical of drum triggers because I've never really found that they respond the way I like them to dynamically, and they tend not to last. These new ones are very rigid and quite durable. Also, aside from being rather beautiful and matching the look of the Yamaha lug, I find they really work well dynamically, and like playing quietly or playing loud, they faithfully reproduce the dynamics that I'm trying to play when they do trigger the samples that are usually just augmenting the sound of the live drums. Okay, before I sign off, I'm just going to say a quick thank you to the companies that support me, that is Yamaha Drums and Sabian Cymbals. The band is Mother Mother. Please do check us out. We're at www.mothermothersite.com, at Mother Mother on Twitter, at Mother Mother Music on Instagram. Our new album is called No Culture, and it's coming out real soon, so keep your eyes out.